Press freedom activists say Russian media laws are already restrictive and could be about to get worse. Russian lawmakers are proposing to make search engines such as Russian-owned Yandex and US-owned Google accountable for the material they index. Former Russian journalist Gregory Asmolov now studies the role of the internet in Russian society.
We can see a lot of efforts from Yandex side to oppose this legislation, but eventually they're based in Russia. Google is quite vulnerable because on the one hand it can be accused of being a foreign agent. On the other hand, still they are not owned by Russia, so they have some space and some kind of flexibility how to respond to this type of requests in new forms of legislation.
Russian lawmakers are seeking to mimic the European Union's 2014 ruling known as the right to be forgotten, forcing search engines to remove links to irrelevant and outdated data on request. But Asmolov says the Russian proposal goes much further.
It actually says that whatever information which is 3 years old can be removed by a specific request, if it's right or wrong. So that means that practically everything can be removed based on this new type of legislation.
Asmolov says internet restrictions were tightened after the Russian presidential election in 2012, won by Vladimir Putin. At the time, pro-Kremlin Senator Ruslan Gatarov denied authorities were introducing censorship.
На данный момент мы боремся с тем контентом, который является экстремистским.
We are fighting the content which is extremist or which is bringing our children under the influence of pedophiles, under the influence of drug dealers, and those who are ready to tell children how to commit a suicide.
But activists say restrictions on internet content also include broad-based definitions of extremism. They note opposition groups used the internet to organize anti-government protests in 2012. Among the hundreds arrested at the time was opposition leader Alexei Navalny. In a VOA interview this week, Navalny said the current crackdown is in anticipation of upcoming elections.
For
the Kremlin, it's extremely important to eliminate any NGOs that could not only finance, but could also develop programs, gather people, or be an intellectual center. Putin wants to clear the field of any organized structures.
Russian authorities insist the internet restrictions are aimed at protecting society, but critics say that's a smokescreen to hide a crackdown on domestic and international opposition to President Putin. Henry Ridgwell for VOA News, London.